Please note that this podcast contains information regarding sensitive events, including domestic violence, assault, and abuse, as well as other triggering events such as murder. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. When Alice jumped down the rabbit hole, she immediately regretted her decision. A rabbit hole is a metaphor for something that transports someone into a troubling, surreal state or situation. Welcome to Afterglow, the unveiling of the Idaho cult. This podcast will take you down the deepest of rabbit holes as it unfolds. The story is so compelling, so bizarre, and so heinous, it's impossible to look the other way. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow were dedicated in the most horrible way to an ideology that should only be fiction. Instead, their ideology put them behind bars. Join us as we explore the lives, lies, and diabolical crimes of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Welcome to Season 2. I'm your host, Kathy Brooks. Please follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, and welcome back to Afterglow, Unveiling the Idaho Cult. This is Season 2, Episode 8, Bloodstains. My name is Kathy Brooks. I am your host, and we are really going down the rabbit hole today. Lori gave Colby a car before she ran off with Chad. So after the welfare check, there's some interesting information about the Blue Nissan Rogue, which winds up having bloodstains in it. This car was given to Colby, and the police detectives put it all together that this vehicle was probably some pretty good evidence in the case of the missing children. I wasn't kidding when I told you this story was full of rabbit holes. So let's get into this episode right now. If you remember, last time we talked was about Lori's welfare check. On November 26th, 2019, the police came to Lori's door looking for JJ. And Lori said, "Oh, he's with my friend Melanie Gibb in Arizona. And I don't know who Chad is. He's an author. He's my brother's friend." Played totally dumb, but clearly extremely scared. So that welfare check was done on JJ Vallow at 565 Pioneer Road, Rexburg, Idaho. Earlier in the day, before the police came and talked to Lori, she was at the store. Remember she says that? Well, they did go in and they spoke with Alex Cox and Chad Daybell. According to the affidavit, Chad acted as if he didn't know Lori very well, and he stated he didn't know her phone number. That was all in the probable cause document that was later released. Alex told the detectives that JJ was with his grandma Kay in Louisiana, which was not likely because Kay was the one who reported JJ possibly missing to the Gilbert police and requested a welfare check. Alex Cox told the police that Lori might be in apartment 107, but it was vacant. Chad tried to drive away, and the detective stopped him. Chad told the investigator that the last time he had seen JJ was in apartment 107 in October. He also admitted that he did know Lori's phone number. Yeah, because they know you're married, dude. This is all according to court documents. Now, police then, we heard that on the last episode, police then found Lori in her apartment, and she went on to tell her big fat lies that JJ was with Melanie Gibb. She said that he's at Frozen 2 and more lies. There was a 14-page affidavit of probable cause that was released that explained a lot of what happened around this time. So according to an article from East Idaho News, the police came back the next day, November 27th, and served a search warrant on Lori's and Alex's apartments. The police did believe at that time that Chad left Rexburg the day before, and Melanie Boudreau later confirmed that information to investigators. During the search of Lori's apartment, the police found autism medication prescribed to JJ, It was filled in January of 2019, so 10 months before. And it still had 17 pills in the bottle. Police verified that the prescription had not been filled in Idaho. Now, as we move forward and we realize Lori was playing some games with not giving JJ his medicine because he was very ADHD, out of control. If you remember, we played a little clip of him using swear words, playing with friends in the yard. It was caught on the Ring doorbell camera. They also went to Self Storage Plus that day and found items of JJ's. Nate Eaton, East Idaho News.
Lori Vallow Daybell first came here to Self Storage Plus in Rexburg to rent a storage unit. This is the unit that she put her items in. It's a 10 by 10. And over the next few weeks after October 1st, she came here a few different times. Surveillance footage from the company shows Lori or a man associated with her visited her unit 9 times in October and 1 time in November. She came alone once on October 1st, the day she signed the contract and agreed to pay $53 a month. She was driving a blue Nissan Rogue. Lori returned October 2nd and 3rd with a man who appears to be her brother, Alex Cox. His truck is spotted on camera several times during the month. During one visit, the two of them enter the building. The man looks back and forth as Lori opens the unit door. He then removes a heavy tote with something hanging over the end. It's placed in the car. They go back inside the building, and he carries out a tire while she closes the door. Between October 6th and 26th, a man, presumably Cox, visits the storage unit alone 5 times. Cameras show him dropping off a variety of items, including gun cases. And then on October 28th, 2 men are seen moving bikes into the unit. During October, the visitors are seen with large, heavy totes. Sometimes they put things in the unit, then remove them within days. The last time anyone visits the facility in October is on the 28th. Nobody comes back for nearly a month. But on November 24th, Lori and a man are again seen on camera. They stay for 4 minutes and leave. 2 days later, Rexburg police go to her townhouse for a welfare check on JJ. The next day, November 27th, officers serve a search warrant at the home and then go to the storage unit.
Pay particular attention to this part right now. So officers serve a search warrant on November 27th at Lori's home, and then they go to the storage unit.
November 27th, officers serve a search warrant at the home and then go to the storage unit with a search warrant. Inside, they find bikes, a scooter, winter clothing, a photo album with pictures of the children, sports equipment, a backpack with JJ's initials, a jersey with Colby's name, Lori's oldest son, along with ice skates and blankets, one showing photos of JJ, the other with pictures of Tylee. Detectives photographed everything, and in January, when Lori's credit card was declined several times, Self Storage Plus notified the police. Workers say officers have not returned since the end of November. Workers have reached out to Daybell multiple times, but they have been unsuccessful in reaching her, and she has not contacted them. Now, here at Self Storage Plus, they realized the other day that Lori may have been using their facility. They called their security system Elite Surveillance. They came up and helped them pull the footage, and now they are waiting to see what's next. Reporting in Rexburg, I'm Nate Eaton, EastIdahoNews.com.
So these detectives, their spidey senses are up. They are like, okay, Chad's pretending he doesn't know Lori's phone number. We know they're married. Lori's pretending she doesn't know who Chad is, that it's just a friend of her brother, Alex. And now she's saying that JJ is with her friend Melanie Gibb. That same night, they didn't hear back from Gibb either. She didn't call them back. So they actually went to Melanie Gibb's home, and she wasn't there, but they called her and reached her by phone, and she told them that JJ had not been there for several months. But later on, fast forward quite a bit later, like 10 days later, Melanie Gibb also did call them and fess up and say that she was told by Lori and Chad to lie. And we will get to that in the timeline eventually here. Later, one of the kids in the neighborhood that JJ played with, child went over to play with JJ, and according to the affidavit, the child was told by Lori that JJ went to live with his grandmother, Kay. They also obtained the phone records that showed that they did go to Yellowstone with JJ and Lori and Alex on September 8th, and they got that picture of Tylee at the park entrance. Again, that was the last evidence of Tylee ever being alive.
Chad and Tammy Daybell's home in Salem is only about 10 minutes from Lori Vallow's townhome in Rexburg. Both places have been a huge focus for Idaho police and FBI. First, it was the townhome. Neighbors say the FBI raided Lori's townhome as well as her brother's townhome in the same complex the day before Thanksgiving. You could see marks where neighbors say the FBI broke down the door.
It's crazy, just baffling.
Seth Bernard, who lives next door to Lori, says she told him she was going to college. He hadn't seen Lori's children, Joshua, JJ Vallow, and Tylee Ryan, in some time. His sons often played with JJ.
We were told that he was going to move with his grandmother, go visit.
But police have said that isn't true. Both JJ and Tylee haven't been seen since September.
The question is where they go. We have no idea. So they just kind of took up and vanished.
JJ's toys, Seth says, are still sitting on Lori's porch and the townhome's filled with her belongings. The day before the FBI showed up, Seth says he saw Lori and her brother packing up a truck.
Next morning, boom, they're gone.
Authorities say Lori disappeared with her new husband, Chad Daybell, and won't cooperate or tell them where JJ and Tylee are. As they started to focus on Chad, it led them to his Salem home, where his wife, Tammy, died in October. On Friday, authorities spent the entire day going through this home looking for clues in Tammy's death. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office is calling her death suspicious. Rexburg PD and the FBI joined the search. For now, they aren't getting a lot of answers.
Typically, the family has not spoken with us to reference this case at all.
The couple's adult children declined to speak with us as well. The sheriff's office hopes to get results from Tammy's autopsy and finding results from the search warrants in the next few weeks. Seth hopes they can at least find the kids as law enforcement pieces together everything on their own.
We knew these kids. They were playing with my kids. And all of a sudden, poof, they're gone.
In Rexburg and Salem, Idaho, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So things are getting serious here. Everybody is starting to realize that something very sinister has happened, and these children are literally missing. During that big scramble on 11/27/2019, Alex also picks up and moves, leaves Rexburg and moves back to Arizona. Ian's sister, Ian Pawlowski, who Melanie Boudreau winds up marrying soon. His sister, Hannah, said that on November 27th, 2019, Melanie Boudreau came to their house with her brother Ian to visit. And Melanie was driving a Nissan Rogue. She stayed there and then left that evening to go somewhere else. And then she did come back the following day, which would have been Thanksgiving, and she left the residence at approximately 11 p.m. to midnight and slept somewhere else. And then on that Friday, 11/29, Melanie and Ian spent some more time together at the residence, and Melanie did spend the night that night. On November 30th, 2019, that morning was a Saturday. Ian, Melanie, and Ian's two children left the residence and traveled in Ian's Toyota Corolla. They later learned that they went to Las Vegas. And then also during that period of time, Hannah, Ian's sister, was told that Melanie had drove the Nissan Rogue from Rexburg with her uncle Alex. Hannah, the sister, said that the Nissan Rogue was left parked in front of their house, and she was told someone would be picking up the vehicle. She said she was not comfortable with that, but on November 30th, 2019, she and her husband left the residence in the morning, and when they returned at approximately noon, the Nissan Rogue was no longer at the residence. And Hannah didn't know who came to get the car, the Rogue. Hannah also said that Melanie spoke a lot about her former husband, Brandon, and that He blamed her for someone shooting at him. Melanie said she and her ex-husband divorced because of his promiscuous behavior. And Melanie also said she had to leave her children and had not seen them for some time. Hannah said Melanie appeared detached. And this is redacted, but I'm assuming it says Chad and Lori, but nothing specifically was stated, and they were mentioned in context of small talk. Melanie also stated her Aunt Lori and Chad Daybell had left for Hawaii, and Hannah said approximately 2 weeks ago she was told by Ian that Melanie was told Al had taken care of blank, but it was unknown what that statement meant. Okay, so this is weird, right? This is all from the police documents, the FOIA documents. Hannah said she was not aware of anyone from her immediate family being inside the Nissan Rogue, to include her husband and children. Hannah said it was possible Ian's children had been in the Nissan Rogue. Hannah said she did not observe Ian, Melanie, or Ian's children with any injuries that would have caused bleeding. So there was blood found inside the Nissan Rogue. So the police detectives are very curious about whose blood is in this car. Now, the person who picked up the Nissan Rogue was actually Colby, Lori's older son. He eventually tells the police that he picked it up at that residence, Hannah's house. So a lot of stuff is going on. This is very fluid on November 27th. So it's hard to give you step by step. I'm going to talk about groups of things that happen in this period of time. So back to November 27th again, the detectives go to Colby Ryan's house. And they want to ask him about where his sister and brother are. Where's Tylee and where's JJ? There's an interview with Fox 10 reporter Justin Lum, who does a fantastic job, just like Nate Eaton, with this entire case. And I will play some of that for you right now, where Justin is asking Colby about the last time he saw his siblings and that whole period of time right then and there about November 27th when the police showed up at his house.
To be okay and to have a new place to live and be okay.
What is Tylee saying to you about the move?
She didn't really say anything. She just looked so emotional. She looked like she was sad. She looked like she didn't want to go. I know all her friends are here. And so she just seemed like she wasn't ready to move again. Like she's been through so much moving.
So her expression, she wasn't really expressing her, you could see it.
Yeah,
she wasn't telling you.
Exactly.
And she wasn't giving you much information. She's just not happy right now. The way you looked at her and said bye.
Yeah. And
she said bye to you. She said, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. And like she's very protective of JJ. And so she would do anything to go with him and protect him. So I knew that about her. I know that's why she would go, because she does have friends and family here. So it was like she went for JJ.
And she's also 17. I mean, this is her family.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
At what point do you find out that they're going to Idaho?
I didn't know they were going to Idaho. I found out that they were in Idaho recently. That's
Take
where they
me
were.
There. Detectives come and ask you where the kids are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you find out.
Yeah.
What happened?
They came to the door and they asked me where my little sister is and where JJ is. And I'm like, what are you, like, how are you asking me? I don't know. Like, I don't have them. And they came looking for him here, thinking that they would be here. And so I just opened the door thinking, like, why are two detectives at the door? And when we had that conversation, it just like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Where's like Tylee? Like, I was freaking out because I didn't know what they were going to say. And so we had that conversation. I came inside and I'm like looking around, like my wife's looking at me and we're just thinking, what is going on? So I called my mom and I'm like, two detectives just came to my door. What is going on? And she said, I got it. I'll take care of it. Love you. And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
I got it. I'll take care of it. I love you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit of a conversation, but that was really it. That's what it was. Like, she asked me what they asked. I said, they asked for Tylee. I said, where's Tylee? Why are they asking me?
This was November 26th, the day they did the welfare check in Rexburg, Idaho.
It was the day before Thanksgiving. So either it was
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's when they came to our door.
And November 27th, Rexburg police do a search warrant at the townhome in Rexburg, and Lori is gone. Chad Daybell is gone. There's no sign of the kids. Did you find this out, that they have left?
I didn't find out until, I don't know when. So they had an article, someone published the article that they went to their home and they were gone. And that's when I was like, that's when things just started to be like, yeah, I freaked out. So I called my mom and that number was gone. It was dead.
No ring. You haven't talked to her since that, when the detectives came.
Yep.
Was it Chandler Police?
Gilbert, I think.
Gilbert Police.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, in Arizona.
Yeah,
agency.
exactly. Yeah.
And then with Tylee, your last contact with her, with social media or phone after she's moved, take me through that. How did that change?
Yeah, so Tylee and I primarily texted each other. We weren't really like on the phone. We FaceTime with my daughter so that way she could see her and, talk to her or whatever. So we weren't really calling each other. I was texting Tylee while she was gone, checking on her. There's a point in 2018 where we...
So remember, we do know now the last time Tylee was ever seen was September 8th. And he's saying the last time he really had a real genuine conversation with her was literally the day they moved, around August 30th, and maybe right after that. And then he's saying after that, it got sketchy, and he doesn't know. So Tylee was only alive up there in Rexburg for about a week from what we are gathering.
Telling her like, hey, call me whenever you get time. Whenever you get a chance, call me. FaceTime me. I would FaceTime her. I would call her. And I just never got that answer. So then it was like, but then I would text her and she'd be like, okay, like some type of explanation. Like, I was busy or I'm with new friends and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, just grow your life. Like go and enjoy yourself. I don't want to like weigh you down with a lot, but I also want to talk to you and see you. So
you want to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're getting these short responses and you're like, okay, like, but did it sound like how she would text or how she would talk?
That was the difference. It's like when you, like we talked about, if you know how someone talks, like
people text a certain way.
Exactly. You know how they like if they put periods or they say something over and over, if they capitalize, you just know how someone talks. And so it was bouncing back and they just didn't seem normal. They didn't seem like normal text. And that's when it was like all these things started kind of piecing together. Then when they came to the door, that was like the last like red flag where you're like, okay, so what has been going on this whole time?
So now there's this also Venmo transaction. That's what people want to know about.
Right.
She has a Venmo account. You can confirm that Venmo account, Tylee Ryan, that's her account.
That's her account.
And you got transactions in October, a couple times October. But is that her paying you or is that your mom using it?
Yeah, so my mom is using Venmo. My mom is not tech savvy. So Tylee's account for Venmo was the one that she used to transfer money to us. So Tylee knew how to use Venmo. And so that's why that was ever there. And so she had just sent money through Tylee and said, done or whatever the case was. So she had just sent that in October.
There's never been a time in your life using Venmo with Tylee that she may have Venmo'd you anything personally, like her money, like I wanted to buy you this.
She had a couple of times, like she said, for Riley or something like that. But primarily it was from my mom to us through Tylee. Obviously, I don't know if Tylee was Venmoing other people, but to us, Tylee's Venmo was from my mom.
Like a broker account, middleman.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of hard and confusing to know when her digital trail disappears.
Right, exactly.
When is the last time Tylee is not just seen in public, but seen on social media, online? Yeah. And you're trying to get a hold of her via FaceTime or phone call, and she's not answering at all.
Yeah.
And then after November, your mom drops off. Their phone's not working.
Yeah.
You never heard of Chad Daybell in your life?
No.
She never spoke about him, about reading his books.
I've never heard of Chad. I had never heard of him. So obviously hearing that she was married to someone named Chad Daybell was like another huge shock to me.
We know that, she'd been estranged from Charles and Charles died. So, it's people remarry.
Yeah.
But his wife died and authorities say it's suspicious. And that was October 19th that his wife, Tammy, died. I'm sure you read up on that. Yeah. And then they're married within a few weeks. And in November, they're in Kauai applying to rent a home.
Yeah.
How, you didn't know anything about this?
No.
And what's going through your mind now? Like, how could she get into this relationship with a man who's supposed to be a doomsday author and his wife is gone? It just doesn't, it seems very like it's a fictional book.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to know how you feel.
I was so pissed. When what happened was this all kind of came out to us all at one time. So December 20th is when we actually started seeing that there was articles being made about this and like reading information. So I didn't know she was married through that. So apparently she's been married for however long, I don't know. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is already confusing enough. You've been married this whole time to someone I've never heard of. Like, I had no idea existed.
She couldn't tell you that she was getting married either.
Yeah. I had no idea she was married. I don't understand why she got married. Like, I don't understand that. Nothing of this makes sense. So you're just like sitting there like frustrated and confused. And that's how this whole thing has been. It's just like, what is happening? What is going on?
And so when she moved to Idaho in September time, are there some phone calls with you and your mom, check-ins, texts, or anything? Just how often was that range of contact?
Yeah, it was probably every couple weeks. Just a random like, hey, love you. I started picking up in my job duties, and that's when I was like just focused all day. I'm busy. I'm on the phone, working. And so it's like talking to her was more of, I guess, a second. Yeah, it was a check-in like, hey, love you. And she would tell me the kids were good, and you would never think to question your own mom about the kids.
But there was still unknown to you where she was living. She didn't say, I'm here, here's a picture of our new place.
Right. No, nothing.
No pictures.
No idea where they were.
This doesn't make sense. Like, we always know where our family is, and it couldn't be the details couldn't be provided.
Yeah, it's just... Dude, it's just like one of those things where you're just frustrated. And, like I said, from how many times we moved, I've moved personally, how many times I know Tylee has moved. When they said they were moving, I just wanted them to be safe and cool. That's it. I just wanted them to be in a new place. To be honest, I wasn't asking why, because she was not making it a point to tell me. And so I was like, as long as you go somewhere, start new, and you find a way to have the kids walk into a new routine, walk into a type of life where they can do something normal, that's all I could ever want for them.
When was the last point of contact with Tylee where it's like, that's a real legit conversation you had with her in September?
Yeah. So
was it a text?
Yeah. Texting was the last time I actually got something back. So it was actually in October that we were texting, right? But at that point, I'd still been kind of wary for it. So I was texting her like back and forth, and that's when it was sketchy.
But you weren't sure it was her.
Yeah.
But so you're saying genuine conversation with Tylee where you're like, that's my sister. It sounds like her.
Yeah.
And we're talking about something.
Shortly after the August 30th, we FaceTimed, and that's when she was at the table with JJ. She was babysitting him. And, we had talked, and he had hung up the phone. So she texted me. She's like, sorry, he had hung up. So I obviously knew that was her. It's like immediate.
But they hadn't moved yet.
No, they hadn't moved at that point. So the last time I got a text from her was probably a couple of days after that. And it was just the same thing. I sent her a video of my daughter, and I knew obviously she had her phone. And so she just responded. And then from that point on, I have no idea.
What did she say in the response?
To what?
To your text you said it was your...
Oh, yeah. She just said it's so cute. It was like a video of her laughing really hard. And so she said it's really cute.
She never said, Colby, we're in freaking Idaho.
Yeah. No, nothing.
Do you think your mom told her not to tell you anything about this? Like the Tylee, would she tell you details? Would she tell you where she was going?
Well, this is where my mind starts to shift, and where I start thinking, I don't know, because I think that Tylee, like I said, is very protective of JJ. So if she felt like she was protecting JJ and she was in that place, maybe she would not tell me, because it doesn't really make sense why she wouldn't just be like, this is where we're at. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense why you'd have to hide it. There's no reason why you'd have to like hide where you're moving or where you're going. And so that's, frustrating as well. Like, we didn't have that conversation where she was at.
You don't know what cars they took up there, and nothing of that sort?
No.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Like, did Tylee drive a Jeep?
Yeah, Tylee had a Jeep. Other than that, my mom, I got a new car, and then they just left. So the car that I saw was Tylee's Jeep, and so that was it. They just left.
When you said bye to them, they were in the Jeep.
Yeah.
Now, remember, a few minutes ago, we talked about the police going to Hannah, Ian's sister's house, asking her about the Nissan Rogue and if her kids have ever been in it. and she wasn't sure. Now keep in mind, this is the same Nissan Rogue that was going back and forth with Lori through November to the storage unit. And they're saying there was some blood in the Nissan Rogue. Keep that in mind here. So this Nissan Rogue is sitting in front of Hannah's house, Ian's sister's house, on November 30th, waiting to be picked up by someone who we now know clearly is going to be Colby. As I'm reviewing the documents, Hannah had no idea who was coming to pick up this Nissan Rogue that was sitting in front of her home. But when we review the probable cause document, apparently Colby knew around mid-November, according to Colby, that Lori's brother Alex, Uncle Alex, was going to be bringing the Rogue to Colby in Arizona. But Colby did not mention this to law enforcement when they came to his door on November 27th, that he had planned to go in a day or two and pick up the Nissan Rogue. So according to the police documents, it says concerning the Nissan Rogue, Colby estimated in early to middle November, Lori contacted him by telephone and advised him that Alex Cox would be visiting a female friend in Arizona for Thanksgiving. Lori told him Alex would be driving her Nissan Rogue to Arizona to give to Colby for he and Kelsey to use. Following the contact with Detective Pillar and I, the detective that's writing this, on November 27th, 2019, Colby called Lori at blank and advised her the police had spoken to him. Colby said Lori replied, "We were fine," and she would contact the police about it. Colby said the following day on Thanksgiving, November 28th, he attempted to speak with Lori again via her cellular phone, but was advised the telephone call could not be completed because Lori's telephone was disconnected. Now, we mustn't forget, Lori had more than one phone. She had Tylee's phone, and she also had burner phones. Remember the text messages between her and Zalema, where when she was kind of freaking out, and Zalema is like, "Oh, are you using this phone now?" So Lori had a few phones, and that does become very clear later on when Melanie Gibb is interviewed. They found in the iCloud account a series of emails were located between Lori and Colby after the disappearance of Tylee and JJ. On November 28th, 2019, Colby sent his mom an email that read, "Mom, you changed your number. What's going on?" Lori responded on December 2nd, writing, "Hi, Colby. I need you to know that we are safe and happy. I know this sounds confusing to you, but I need you to trust me. That although there are wicked people trying to cause harm, that Jesus is on our side and taking care of us. Although we may be out of touch for a while, I will continue to help you. I love you all so much. The car and the car insurance will be paid so you can drive it with no worries. The phones will also be good. You are precious to your mama. I love you so much. Kisses to Riley and you and Kelsey. I hope to talk soon. I will continue to pray blessings on your family constantly." Colby responded, "Okay, Mom, I love you. Please be smart and take care of the kids and yourself. I don't know what's going on, but I'm praying for you all. I'm mad and sad, but I know I can't control anything going on. Please be safe, all of you. We love you. And if you can help us at all through Venmo, that too would help. I'm going to be getting a second job, but until then, we could use a little help. You have helped us so much with the car and phones, so thank you for that. I love you all." One thing I can say is Colby was very reliant. As a married adult with a child, he was very reliant on Lori and Charles. And so this had to really be a sticker shock kind of thing to him. To now, where's my mom? Where's the kids? Why are we out of touch? But you can see clearly that they communicated about that car because she's saying right here that the car insurance would be taken care of. Now, I have to give a shout out in the middle of all this to Annie Cushing, Annie Lennox. I know I said it in the beginning, but she has put together a fabulous timeline that has been such a nice guide to help me fill in the gaps of things that I missed along the way. So thank you so much. And she does have a website, AnnieLennox.com, and there is a link in the show notes below, so you can check it out. So Colby winds up reaching out to the police again in December, After things are starting to get really weird and he's seeing that the news media is on this story, his siblings are missing, his mom's not communicating with him. So he does reach out to the detective and he says he has this blue Nissan Rogue that his mother gave him. He tells the detective that somewhere in the middle of November, Lori contacted him by telephone and told him that Uncle Alex would be visiting a female friend in Arizona for Thanksgiving. And Lori told him Uncle Alex would be driving her Nissan Rogue to Arizona and will be giving it to Colby for him and Kelsey to use. Colby told him, I couldn't contact my mom, but I did have a way to contact my Uncle Alex. I was able to call him and text him. Alex tells Colby he'll make that vehicle available to Colby to pick up. And according to Colby, Alex also said the kids were fine. So on November 30th, 2019, Alex sent Colby a text message and provided the address of the East Sebring Avenue in Mesa, which is Hannah's house, Ian's sister's house. He told him the keys were going to be in the glove box and the car would be unlocked. He also told them this is a friend of Melanie Boudreau's house that the vehicle is located at. After Colby gets this text, he went to that address, he found the car, he opened it up, found the keys in the glove box, and drove it home. He said the inside and the outside of the car were pretty dirty, so he decided to get it washed. So he took it to the car wash. He said the front seat of the car was full of animal hair. And then Colby told them, I've had this car since November 30th. He also told them that no one else has used the car outside of him and Kelsey, and no one has contacted him about the vehicle. But the detective was like, this vehicle was in Idaho. That vehicle was being driven by Lori. Chad and Alex were in Idaho. We saw that vehicle coming in and out of the video at the storage unit. This vehicle very possibly could have some major evidence. So he told Colby that he needed to impound this vehicle. So the detective tells Colby, I'm going to seize this vehicle. Please don't get in the vehicle. Don't touch anything. Don't remove anything. Just leave the vehicle. We are going to tow it away and have it tested. This vehicle gets towed and gets processed, and they search this vehicle for evidence. And sure enough, they find several spots in the car with blood. So now they have the blue Nissan Rogue and they find spots in it, blood spots. And then they test it using a blood kit that is used to determine if a substance is blood. And it did say it was blood. It yielded positive results. They marked the stains, photographed them, and they collected 4 locations. The first one was the left rear seat cutout. The second one was a right rear seat belt. The third one was the right rear seat cutout. And then the right rear seatbelt hanger also had a positive reaction for blood. So that was item 4. So if you think about it, that's a lot of blood. That's not just somebody cut their knee. It's on the seatbelt hanger, the seatbelt on the right, the seat cushion on the right, the rear left seat, and the hanger. They also took the vehicle registration, took pictures of that. They found some airline receipts in the back pocket, and they found some taco time and gas shell receipts found in the back pocket of the right front seat. So they impounded all this evidence. So then they report to Colby and they say, hey, Colby, we found some stains that are blood in this car. So we really need you to cooperate with us. And we want to get some DNA samples of you and your wife and your little one. And Colby was fine with that. So the detective showed up. He gave them the buccal swabs, which is a swab that you take. It's almost like a Q-tip swab. Swab the inside of the cheek, put it in a container, and send it to a lab. So he observed them, watched them. They all did the buccal swabs. Kelsey did hers in Little Riley's, and Colby did his own. He also told them these are going to be uploaded to a national DNA database, and they're going to be compared with any biological or DNA evidence collected as part of this whole investigation. So super suspicious with this blood in this car. Really curious when this trial comes what that's all going to show.
Urgent search for those missing Idaho siblings. Officials say the kids have not been seen since September, and now police suspect they are in serious danger. Lindsay Davis is here now with that story. Lindsay, good morning.
Good morning, Tom. This is really a mysterious one. First, 2 missing children, and now their mother and her husband are both believed to be on the run. The children were never reported missing by their mother and stepdad, and multiple people close to the newlywed couple have recently died.
This morning, the FBI and police in multiple states are searching for 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. Both have been missing since September, last seen in Idaho. J.J.'s grandmother recalls the last time she spoke to him.
It was a 35-second FaceTime. He's 7, he's autistic. He'll call you 50 times, but he never called back this time.
The children's mother, Lori Vallow, had recently married Chad Daybell. Shortly after the children vanished, police say the newlywed couple also disappeared, just one day after a wellness check at the family's home in November, when investigators accused them of lying about the children's whereabouts.
There's nothing on earth more precious than those children.
You can hear Lori talking here in this podcast about religion.
If you did something bad yesterday, the Lord wants you to say you're sorry today and just do better tomorrow.
Investigators say they believe the children are in serious danger.
So things are getting serious, very serious at this point. FBI's involved. Kay and Larry are extremely concerned. And Colby is, confused. So it's just weird, right? Just weird at this point.
Lori married Chad just weeks after his wife, 49-year-old Tammy Daybell, died in late October. But police grew suspicious of how she passed, and in December, they exhumed her body. The medical examiner's report is still pending. Lori's most recent ex-husband was shot and killed by her brother in July. Her previous ex-husband died of a heart attack in 2018.
On Monday, the attorney for Chad and Lori released this statement saying Chad Daybell was a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Lori Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. We look forward to addressing the allegations once they have moved beyond speculation and rumor.
The plot thickens. And there was a little bit of a spoiler alert there, where you see that Tammy's body does get exhumed. So this is super suspicious to all the investigators and to all of us following this story. So that's where I'm going to end this episode of Afterglow, Unveiling the Idaho Cult. This was Season 2, Episode 8. If you're new here, please consider giving my podcast 5 stars. And also, you can help support the show. It is not monetized in any way, except for every once in a while, Buzzsprout will put another podcast ad for another podcast on there, which is literally maybe $15, $20 a month that I get from that. So in order to help me pay my expenses for this podcast, if you do feel inclined and you do have the resources, no donation is too small, and there are links below for my PayPal, my Buy Me a Coffee, and my Cash App. Again, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay well, and I will be back soon. Sources for this episode: Lauren Steinbrecher from Salt Lake, Fox 13, Justin Lum, Fox 13 Phoenix, Nate Eaton, East Idaho News, and Annie Cushing, AnnieLinux.com, and ABC GMC. Thank you. Stay safe, stay well, and I will be back soon. Theme music from Dan